I'm Dino Caruso. I'm the co-creator of the graphic novel Underpinnings, and you are listening to the True North Country Comics podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics podcast, dedicated to celebrate Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Dino Caruso about his newest graphic novel, Underpinnings, published by Inservice Comics. Dino Caruso is a comic book writer from Hamilton, Ontario, who lives with his wife and two boys. His comics have been published by Caliber Comics, Markosia, Antarctic Press, and others. He's had many short comics appeared in anthologies from a variety of publishers, with illustrators Cecilia Latella, Joseph Velasquez, Lucas Benedine, and Andre Belusci, with tones by Paul Little and letters covers art by Shawn Daley. Dino's newest graphic novel is Underpinnings. Underpinnings, told in 4 parts, is a story of a recent graduate's first social worker job and all the characters he meets along the way. According to the author, this is a fiction story, but a few of the interactions mirror events that actually happened to him. Readers may be able to relate, make some connections, and find some truth of their own within its pages. So, without further ado, here's my chat with Dino Caruso about his newest graphic novel, Underpinnings, published by Inservice Comics. So, Dino Caruso, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Well, it's my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Oh, I appreciate your time. I know we haven't chatted, and gosh, it was actually, I think, last year we met up at TCAF, so it's been a long time since we've chatted, but it's great to catch up. But before I get going with all the questions, I would like to know, what are you reading today?
I've really been enjoying the new books from Vertigo. I've got The Peril of the Brutal Dark, which is an Ezra Kane story by Condon and Phillips. I'm enjoying that. I've got End of Life in front of me, and I've got Bleeding Hearts. The other thing that I'm actually really excited about is a few weeks ago, there was a reprint of Love and Rockets #1. And that is a book that for some reason I just never read it. And I've been hearing about it forever. I just never knew where to start. But now this reprint of #1 was a great introduction for me. And I'm really looking forward to sinking my teeth into that too.
Cool. Yeah, definitely a critically acclaimed book. And it's great that they've now reintroduced it in a certain manner for folks who want to jump on board. As you say, it's tough. Once a comic book gets going and it's have a very lengthy run, it's really tough to jump in the middle of it. That's for sure.
I feel really late to the party on this one, but I'm excited to finally give it a shot.
Cool. So we're here talking about your newest graphic novel, Underpinnings. What if you talk a little bit about the story? What is it all about?
It's about a character who's just graduating from his program at university or college. He's just getting ready to step out into the work world, or I guess he thinks he's ready to step out into the work world. It's not the smoothest transition for him. And I guess it's about the process that we all go through as we make the transition from our education into what we consider our adult life, sort of. And the bumps and bruises, well, I guess metaphorically speaking, that happen along the way, and the learning process. And I think the part that fascinates me about, I don't know, life, I suppose, is that the processes we go through, if you were going to chart it on a graph, it's not always a smooth, straight line. It's about taking a step forward and then a couple steps in reverse and then another step forward. And, it's a bumpy looking graph line. I think that that's kind of a universal way that people feel, but I suppose I'm looking at it from this particular character's strange point of view here.
Is this autobiographical? Did these events actually happen to you?
I suppose that part of it is kind of sort of autobiographical, although I consider it a fiction story that has a few points of overlap with my real life, but I wouldn't say it's an autobiographical story.
Okay, so you are the author of this book. Wondering, did you have any collaborators to help you out with it?
Oh, I sure did. And that's the beauty of the comics and graphic novel medium to me, is the collaboration. The script is one thing, but as soon as you get art, it really elevates it and it adds multiple layers and dimensions to it. And I was really fortunate with my collaborators on this. The book is divided into 4 chapters. And the collaborators did a fantastic job. And the collaborators are Cecilia, Joseph, Lucas, and Andre. They each took a chapter. I had some help with the colors. Paul has done a fantastic job with the colors. And then, of course, Shawn Daley, who's a fantastic artist in his own right, was very helpful to me. He did the cover and he also did the lettering.
Great. That's fantastic. Lots of great people there. But how did you find them? How did you meet up with these folks?
Yeah, I think that the way we connected was on some various forums. The last three artists, who are Joseph, Lucas, and Andre, I'm almost positive I met them on Reddit. There's a subreddit that's called Comic Book Collaborations, and I was very lucky to find them on that subreddit. And then Cecilia and I started this project a really long time ago, and I'm not sure exactly which forum we connected on, but I'm sure it was something like Pencil Jack or Digital Webbing. It was kind of an interesting story. The first chapter was done a long time ago, and then it just kind of sat for a while. I don't know, I suppose life got in the way and other projects got in the way, but then I was finally ready to continue, and I was able to find the last three artists to work on the final three chapters. But it's funny, though, the time in between, the story really changed. I think it improved because of that long layoff time in between chapter one and the ending of the book.
Can you talk a little bit about the collaboration process? I presume that you had a script and you said, artist, please go away and do this. Was there any sort of back and forth process as you were developing the book?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of comics and graphic novels, is that the artists really improve what's in the script with their own experiences and their own talents and their own skills. And so if I perhaps called for a page to take, 6 panels, and the artist was able to do it in 4 panels, then it was usually an improvement over what I had written in the script. And then the other thing that's really interesting is that the artists can make some wonderful suggestions and connections that I hadn't seen or that I hadn't been aware of. And again, it's all in support of the story, and it's all about elevating the story. And I think that I was very fortunate to have these very talented artists who were able to help me improve things.
Underpinnings is being published by Inservice Comics. I'm wondering, what is it like working with this new publisher?
Oh, they're absolutely wonderful and supportive. It's a dream, actually. It's a perfect place to have this story land, I think. The publisher is Nick, and Nick is an amazing comics person in his own right. He's a great storyteller, great artist in his own right. And he really understands the medium, and he really understands the market. And I think that he's able to really help all the creators that he's brought under his umbrella to really flourish and to really hopefully find some success.
Yeah, I remember meeting up with Nick previously, I think last year at TCAF again. And he was talking about a variety of different projects he's working on. But he's from out west. How did you meet up with him, though? Was it just social network type thing?
Yeah, it was at TCAF, actually, where we first met in person. I had followed along with what he was doing. I was always really interested, and we had overlapped on a few anthology projects. He kind of put out a call for submissions because he was interested in perhaps expanding what he was doing. I showed him Underpinnings, and he responded very positively toward it. He had some great ideas, some great suggestions. I feel super fortunate that I wound up there. It's a great little publisher, and he's got great taste, I think. And he's published some wonderful stories on his own. And I'm just super excited to be connected with him.
Now, beyond this podcast, I'm wondering, how are you promoting your book? What are you up to?
Yeah, so I'm trying to find some sites that do graphic novel reviews, and I've been trying to connect with some reviewers. I've been trying to spread the word as best I can on various social media platforms. And I think that conventions are going to be another great way to really get the word out about this. And I think TCAF is actually going to be a really important con to spread the word about the book that I worked on, which is Underpinnings, along with the other stories that Nick is going to be publishing this year.
Beyond the obvious one that you mentioned already about the benefit of being at TCAF, which is actually meeting people and getting perhaps signed to a publisher, what other reasons do you like TCAF?
Oh, the energy of TCAF, it can't be beat. It's strictly a comics show, and the people that come to TCAF are people who are comics enthusiasts. And of course, the other cons are great. but sometimes there can be a little bit too much of an overlap, I guess, with other kinds of media. And sometimes it's not always 100% about the comics at some of the other cons, but at TCAF, it feels like it's just totally about the comics. And I think that the energy that comes from a show like TCAF is just incomparable.
Do you have any other events lined up this year, or is it too early to say?
I have one for sure. I'm going to Halifax to HalCon, which is in November. I can't remember the date exactly, but I think it's early in November. And that's going to be my first time at HalCon, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, great place. Good people out east too, that's for sure. And lots
absolutely.
of good food.
I'm looking forward to it already.
So we've been talking about Underpinnings. I got to ask you then, can you talk about your next project, or is it too early?
I think it's a little too early. I'm in the midst of a few different projects, but I think that they're just a little too early in their processes to really talk about, except to say that, again, I'm super fortunate to be working with amazing creators and amazing co-creators, and I'm always in awe of the skills of the artists and the colorists and the letterers that I work with. So, as I mentioned previously, it's the collaboration of comics that I don't know, just brings me so much joy, and that it's such a thrill to get an email with new art pages in it or new concept designs and things like that. So it's the collaboration that I really like.
Well, with everything you have on the go today and in the future, where do you recommend that people go online to find out more about you?
I guess my website is the best place. It's kind of like a hub where you can launch out from, and it's just my name. So DinoCaruso.ca. So DinoCaruso.ca.
Great. Well, Dino, those are all the questions I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something that I didn't ask that you want to get across in this interview?
No, you know what? The only thing that I think as I'm getting older, I'm just realizing how amazing comics are. And I think it's just the greatest medium there is. It can be superhero comics, it can be indie comics, it can be comic strips in the newspaper. It's just an amazing kind of a medium. And I'm just very grateful to be able to participate in my own small way. And actually, I do want to say, too, that I've really been enjoying your podcast. The variety of creators that you've got on is always great. It's so awesome to see a focus on Canadians, too. It's amazing the skill and the great comics that we see that are being made in Canada.
Thanks to Dino for the chat. You can discover more about Dino online at dinocaruso.ca and on Instagram at Caruso Comics. You can discover more about Underpinnings on InserviceComics.com. And thank you for tuning in to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to visit the True North Country Comics website to listen to even more conversations with creators about making comic books and graphic novels. You can follow along True North Country Comics on most social media platforms, and you're encouraged to send any and all feedback to John at TrueNorthCountryComics.com. Thanks for tuning in. Come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2026.